The dark side of the moon is a pretty mysterious sounding name, right? And when I hear about the dark side of the moon, it just sounds like something I'm not supposed to know anything about. And if you feel that way and you want to know more about it, I have really good news for you. The dark side of the moon actually isn't that mysterious at all. We can actually learn a lot about that just using whiteboard science. I want to give a special shout out to Amanda for giving me the question for this video. In order to figure out what the dark side of the moon actually is, we need to first learn about the relationship between the Earth, Moon, and Sun. First thing to keep in mind about this is that this diagram is definitely not to scale. This is purely just to get a general idea of the situation. So out in space, the Earth is going around the Sun. It takes about 365 days for that to happen, or about 1 year. But meanwhile that's happening, the Earth is also spinning around as it moves around. And this is where we get days from. It takes about 24 hours for the Earth to spin once, and that's what we call a day. From here on Earth, we look up at the sky, and if you're staring long enough, you can see the sun, the moon, and the stars move across the sky. At least it looks like they are. In reality, we're standing on the surface of a spinning planet. And while all that's happening already, there's the moon that's moving around Earth. This motion that the Earth takes around the sun and the moon takes around Earth, we call these orbits. It's all determined by gravity. Just like the Earth going around the sun, as the moon goes around Earth in its orbit, it's also spinning. But something very special about the way the moon spins and orbits around Earth makes for a really, really cool phenomenon. So the moon spins around like this. For it to make one full spin, this takes about 29.5 days. And the amount of time for the moon to go all the way around Earth once to complete its orbit takes about 29.5 days. Now isn't that interesting? It takes the exact same amount of time to complete one orbit as it does when it takes one full spin around its axis. Is that just a really weird coincidence? What does that mean? Well, it means something really, really cool. So think about it this way. We have a side 1 and a side 2. This is just to keep track of the sides as it's spinning around. So we'll start here in its orbit. This is the side that's facing us. This is the side that's not facing us. And the moon is going to be spinning this way. But at the same time, it's going to be going around the entire Earth in its orbit. So we know that it takes the same exact amount of time to complete its orbit as it does to take one full spin. So that means by the time the moon gets all the way around here, it has spun around completely once. So that means that at the halfway point, that means it's going to take one half spin. So it's turned 180 degrees, and it's also halfway through its orbit. So now it's completed half of an orbit and half of a spin at this point. And we can keep repeating this process. So now that we have our diagram in these 4 positions, we can get a general idea of what the moon looks like during its entire orbit. Notice how the red side is always facing the Earth. How cool is that? This is why when we see a full moon, we always see this. It always looks the exact same. We don't see the other side of the moon. So the dark side of the moon is actually just the side of the moon that is never facing us. We never see it. So now we know what our dark side of the moon is. What a really cool coincidence that's happening. But is this just one super strange coincidence? Why is it so coincidental that the same side of the moon always faces us? That seems super convenient, doesn't it? The reason for this relationship with the faces of the moon always facing us has to do with something called tidal forces. There's this thing out there called gravity. Earth has it, the sun has it, the moon has it, everything has it. Across the entire universe, everything has gravity. And that means that not only is the moon being pulled towards Earth with Earth's gravity, but Earth is also being technically pulled towards the moon with its gravity. This relationship of 2 objects pulling against each other like a tug-of-war game with gravity, we call these tidal forces. If that sounds familiar to you, you probably recognize the word tide in there, like the tides in the ocean. And that's exactly right. This is where the tides actually come from with the moon. The Earth pulls on the moon, and the moon pulls on Earth. The Earth pulling on the moon causes that spin to slow down and starts to match us, which is one of the reasons why the face of the moon is constantly facing us. It's the tidal forces from the Earth pulling on the moon that slows that rotation. Meanwhile, the gravity from the moon pulls up water from the Earth as it goes around, and it makes this weird bulge around the Earth. If you're standing on Earth and you're at one of the points where the water is being pulled up, you're experiencing high tide. And if you're at one of the parts of Earth that's not experiencing that, you're experiencing low tide. The moon is responsible for the majority of tides. If the moon wasn't there, the tides would still happen, but there would be a lot less, and it'd be caused mostly by the sun. Speaking of the sun, this comes to our next topic about the moon. I mentioned earlier how when we see a full moon, we always see the same exact thing, which is true. The full moon always looks generally like this. But what do I mean by full moon? Sometimes the moon doesn't look like this. Sometimes it's a weird, different shape. But why does that happen? Remember that the sun is still here in space. We can kind of imagine the sun like a giant flashlight shining down on us. And this is what gives us the daytime. Remember how we talked about that earlier? The Earth spins, and that's why we have day and night. When we're facing the sun, or on the side of Earth that's facing the sun, it lights us up and we have the day. But if I was on the other side of Earth while it's spinning, and the sun isn't shining down on me, it's nighttime. You can think of it like being in the shadow. And just like the Earth, the sun is also shining down on the moon. During the nighttime, sometimes we see the moon in the sky, and you hear people talking about moonlight. But what's actually happening is we see the moon because the light from the sun is shining onto the moon and reflecting back down at us. That's what moonlight is. Moonlight is actually just sunlight. And just like with the Earth, there's a side of the moon that's in its daytime side, and a side of the moon that's not facing the sun, so it's in its nighttime side. There's no light from the sun shining there, so it's all in darkness. But remember that the moon does not just stay here, it's also orbiting around the Earth. So what would happen if the moon was over here in its orbit? The sun is still over here, so we shouldn't expect it to be much different. This is the side facing the sun, so of course the sun's going to be shining in that part. But this half isn't facing the sun, so there's no light to shine on it, so it's going to be still in darkness. It looks about the same as it did before, so there's no surprise there. But remember that we're still here on Earth, looking up at the moon. And now, from our perspective looking up at the moon, we do see something different. Because now, we see sort of a half and half thing going on. Half of the moon is lit up, but the other half is not lit up, it's all dark. This is why sometimes we see something called a half moon in the sky. And we can expect the same thing happening when the moon is over here in its orbit. This side is basking in the light and reflects down back at us, but this side has no sunlight shining on it, so it doesn't reflect anything back at us, so it's all in shadow. Except now, when it's in this side, the sides are flipped. So now when we look up at the moon, now we see the right side of the moon being lit up, but the left side is all dark and in shadow. But what if I asked you how the moon would look if it was over here in its orbit? Once again, there's a side facing the sun that gets all the light, and a side that's not facing the sun that doesn't get any light to reflect down on us. Nothing too surprising, but once again, from the perspective of Earth, if we're looking at the moon, there's no side of the moon reflecting any light back at us. We're only looking at a full shadow going on. All the light is shining on this part of the moon that isn't able to be seen here from Earth. This is why when the moon is over here in its orbit, when we look up into the night sky, we don't see any moon at all. This is what we call a new moon. There's no light coming down on us, so the moon's basically invisible. And remember how we talked about how the same side of the moon is always facing us. So in this scenario, the dark side of the moon, or the side that's not facing us, is actually the light side of the moon because it's being shone on by the sun. But the side facing us, the not dark side, is actually the dark side in this situation because it's all in shadow. So the name dark side of the moon is actually kind of relative. And if we chart how the moon changes how it appears to us over time, or its phase, we can start to come up with a really cool calendar. We have our full moon when the full side of that moon is shining down on us. We have our half moons when the moon is sort of in its halfway point in its orbit and we see like a half and half thing going on with light and shadow. And we have our new moon where none of the side that's facing us is being shined on by the sun at all. And we can keep track of these in-between shapes too. When the moon is transitioning between these like main points that we talk about, we call these main parts quarters of the moon. But when it's in between these parts, this is where we get crescent moons from, or these weird things called gibbuses. When the moon is getting more and more in shadow until it hits the fully shadowed new moon, we call this a waning moon. And when we see the moon getting more and more bright and more lit up by the sun, as we get more and more closer to a full moon, we call this a waxing moon. And this whole process to get from full to new back to full again takes about 29 and a half days, which makes sense because that's when it completes its full orbit. Now, if that number sounds a bit familiar to you, it's probably because it's very close to 30 days, which is sort of the average length of a month. The word month comes from the word moon because of this lunar cycle. So the history of months comes from tracking the moon in its orbit. It's all a game of light and shadow. Now, I've talked a lot about how the dark side of the moon is the part of the moon that we never get to see, which isn't entirely true. It may be true that it's never facing us here on Earth, but we actually have seen the dark side of the moon before. If you're curious, this might be what the moon you're familiar with looks like, and this is what the dark side of the moon looks like. This is the other side of the moon. But how do we know that? Am I just making that up? No, it's a lot cooler than that. Throughout the many missions to study the moon and even land on it, we have done something called a lunar flyby. This is when we have a spaceship going off of Earth and flying by the moon. And when this happens, we actually fly by the dark side of the moon, or the far side of the moon. And sometimes we can do this when the sun is on this side. Because remember, the moon is constantly orbiting around the Earth. So if we time it right, and we fly by the moon when it's on this side of its orbit, and the sun is now shining on the dark side of the moon, we actually get to see what it looks like. And we have taken many cool photographs. A lot of photographs just recently came out from the NASA's Artemis 2 mission. So now we actually know what the dark side of the moon actually looks like. We have our near side of the moon, the side that's nearest to us, with all these interesting dark pools all around the surface. This is ancient lava that's been cooled and dried up, so now it looks dark. You can see a lot of rocks similar to this in places like Hawaii or Iceland. And on the far side of the moon, it looks a bit different. There's not a lot of dark regions. We see some here and here, but for the most part, there's a lot more dots all around it. And these are craters. These are places where asteroids from space have crashed into the surface of the world. And we see a lot more of these on the far side of the moon than we do on the near side of the moon. The near side has its fair share of craters around it, but the far side definitely has a lot more. But why is that? Well, if you remember that the far side of the moon is always far from us, it's always facing away from Earth, and the moon is orbiting around the Earth at all times, asteroids and meteor impacts always come from outer space. That's kind of the deal with them. So if we constantly have this thing flying around us, it can act like a shield for Earth against asteroid impacts. So the far side of the moon acts kind of like a protector for us. They're way more likely to hit this side of the moon, which is why we see a lot more craters on that side. So we actually have to thank the far side of the moon quite a bit for protecting us from a lot of asteroid impacts. So what is the dark side of the moon? It's the side of the moon that is never facing Earth as the moon orbits around it and spins. But it's also a place that's not always dark. It's also the place that serves as a protector for people on Earth, shielding us from asteroids crashing into the surface. It's also the place where we have taken many pictures during our lunar flybys, including just recently with Artemis 2. It's covered in craters. And also because it's on the opposite side of Earth at all times, it's blocked from all radio signal on Earth. So it would actually make a really good spot to put a radio telescope. And there are actually talks about putting a giant radio telescope on that dark side of the moon because of how well it's protected from radio signals on Earth. So hopefully now you know more about what the dark side of the moon is and what we know about it. So in our quest to learn about the dark side of the moon and what it is, we learned about orbits, we learned about tidal forces, we learned about shadows and light and perspective here on Earth. We even learned about what it looks like and why it looks like that. We saw some really cool photos. And all of this started from just a simple question of what is the dark side of the moon? That's the beautiful thing about science, and particularly astronomy, is that a simple question can bear so much fruit. And we did all of this with just some whiteboard science. If you have more questions or feel like I didn't explain something well enough about the dark side of the moon, please feel free to leave a comment below. If you have any other questions just about space and the universe in general, or even just something like our moon, also please feel free to put something in the comments below. I would love to answer your questions. I'm John Rosborough from Open Orbit, and this has been Whiteboard Science. Always keep asking questions, and always keep looking up.